Greetings and salutations! How's everybody doing today? I'm C. Andrew Nelson, founder of Aquatasy. Welcome to another Aquatasy live stream. I figured it was about time that I put something out here for you because it's been a minute since I posted anything to this channel. And we'll talk about why that's been. But how are you all doing? Let's see who we got here so far. Let me take a look. Let me bring up the chat. Oh my gosh, look at all this chat right here. How's everybody doing? Lucas Studios is here. Good to see you. Muppet929 is here. Stephen Thompson is here. Shelley Bradley is here. Jerry Cornell is here. My good buddy Jerry. How are we all doing? Are we having a good summer so far? Is it getting better? Stephen asked how I'm doing. That's a loaded question. It could be worse. It could be worse. I'm doing all right. You know, I try not to complain, but it hasn't been an easy summer so far. But there are certainly rewards to it. Tell you about it in a moment here as we let some more people trickle in. But I hope you're having a good time. I hope that the global health crisis and the lockdown from it hasn't completely spoiled all your plans for summer. Out here in California, we just got word from our governor that this weekend, which is 4th of July weekend, Independence Day weekend, also my friend Jerry's birthday, happy birthday Jerry, that this weekend we are not supposed to be barbecuing in our backyards or shooting off fireworks, and there won't be any public fireworks displays here in California, and they're going to try to crack down on this as well. I think that's a little overkill, but hey, oh well, these are the conditions that prevail. But you know, we can still choose to have a good time. We can still choose to be happy in an unhappy situation. So that's what I'm choosing to do. And Jacqueline Liz is here. Hello, Jacqueline. How are you? Good to see you. And let me see what we got going here in the chat real quick. Oh, Susan's here. Hi, Susan. How are you? Jerry says, are we allowed to breathe in California? No, we're not allowed to breathe. I'm doing this all in one breath. In fact, here goes the wonderful ventriloquist trick, too. Here, I'll drink a glass of water while I'm doing this. There we go. Yes, happy birthday to Jerry. Jerry turns into an old man this weekend. I should talk. I'm older. But you know, Jerry is my good buddy. Runs the Theme Parkology company. Cheap plug. Shout out to Jerry right there. There we go. He produces all these wonderful documentaries on theme parks and things like that. You can go check it out at themeparkology.com. I urge you to do so. So today is going to be, I dare you to ask. This is going to be an Ask Me Anything AMA style thing. I don't have a particular topic I'm going to discuss. I am going to open with a few things, but we are going to just be you asking me whatever questions you want on whatever subject you want. I don't care. You can ask me about quantum physics. Doesn't mean I know anything about it. But we are going to be talking, and you are going to be driving the show today. So that's what we're going to do. So Muppet929 says, we have stay in your car fireworks in my town. That sounds dangerous. I would not want to light off fireworks in my car. I know what you mean. It's like you drive through, you drive to someplace, you watch the show, you don't get out of your car. I got it. But, okay, oh, we have an actual question here. An actual AMA question from Shelley, who wants to know, would you keep 3 goldfish in a 39-gallon tank? Yes and no. Goldfish are a species that are pretty heavy on the bioload, which means they produce a lot of waste. They poop a lot. And the water can be fouled very quickly. So if you've got a 39-gallon tank, basically a 40-gallon tank, you can keep 3 goldfish in it, but you really have to make sure that that water is filtered well and that you're staying on top of your water changes. For instance, my son has a 36-gallon bow front tank, and he's got goldfish in that. He's got 2 in there, but we're kind of over filtering it. We've got a really good filter on there, and we try to keep up on the water changes, although I have to do one this weekend. In fact, I have to water change all the tanks this weekend. That's how I'm celebrating the 4th, since we can't picnic and barbecue and shoot off fireworks here in California. That's what I'm going to be doing. Water changes. Woo! Yay, America. So, Steven says, answering also, goldfish are dirty, but I'm sure 3 can be done in a 39. I have 8 in a 72. Yeah, it all depends on how you do it. I mean, there are the rules. You learn the rules. You figure out how to do it, and then you have to learn how to break the rules. Once you learn the rules, then you know how to break them. So 3 in a 20-gallon tank? No, I would not put 3 goldfish in a 20-gallon tank. 3 in a 39-gallon tank? Yeah, you can do it. Just have a good filter on it, and again, remember to stay on top of those water changes. That's really important. Oh yeah, you have a canister and with a big HOB. Oh yeah, you're good. You're good then. If you got a canister and a hang-on back filter, you're fine. Yeah. Go for it. You can have 3 in there. You should be fine. So let's see here. Shelley Bradley wants to know when she says when the Ohana-Comic-Cons start up again. Whenever that'll be. Are you planning on attending? Yes, I will. I'll hopefully be at those when they start attending again. For those of you who don't know, I am often a guest at various Comic-Cons and sci-fi conventions and collectible conventions because of my day job. I'm an actor and visual effects artist and animator, and worked on the Star Wars saga, worked on films like Galaxy Quest, Jurassic Park 3, a whole bunch of other stuff. So I get often invited to these shows, and I love to do it, and I help raise money for the Starlight Children's Foundation by doing so. And there's a string of conventions up and down northern and central California called OhanaCon, and that's how Shelley actually met me. And so yes, I will be doing those when they start up again, whenever that is, whenever they allow us. The only show that I have coming up that I know for certain is going to happen is a show called CovCon in Coventry, England, but that doesn't happen until May of next year, so it got bumped. So what do we have here? Yes, so just to reiterate what Shelley McBraw was saying is, yes, you want to have your tanks over-filtered and with regular water changes. Now, when I say over-filtering, what you're doing, that's fine. If you've got a canister filter and you've got a hang-on-back filter, that's fine. Sometimes when people think of over-filtering, they think that you've got to have this really strong current. That's fine if you've got like hillstream fish, like hillstream loaches and some other things like that. Goldfish, especially if you have fancy goldfish, they're not going to do well in a strong current. So you can over-filter without having a strong current. Like if my son's tank, he's got a nice big hang-on-back filter that's rated for a much larger tank than he has, but it doesn't have such a flow that it knocks his fish all over the place. So that's what you want to make sure that you do here. Okay. Shelley Bradley has reminded me that yes, we met August 5th, 2018 at an OhanaCon. Yes, that was true. Muppet 929, I'm getting dyslexic, so it wants to know, how many movie-themed sci-fi tanks have you done? 0. There's a reason why. And I keep my day job, and my hobby. Now, there is some spillover because I use my sensibilities as an artist for doing layouts and aquascapes. So I'm inspired by that sort of cinematic eye that I've developed from working in film and television and games and such. But I've never done like a Star Wars themed tank or a Ghostbusters tank or a Lord of the Rings tank or something. I've seen some really cool ones, but I personally have never done them. I try to keep my tanks natural because I got that sort of nature style aquarium, that Takashi Amano made famous, and because that's what appeals to me. So that's why I do that. But no, I've never actually done a Star Wars themed tank. I have friends who have, a good friend of mine, Paul, who's often saying, hey, I'll make up a model or something that you can put underwater that won't be toxic, that you can do a Star Wars themed tank. And I'm like, no, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a Disneyland themed tank. That might be kind of cool. Okay, I take it back. All right, going way back, one of my very first fish tanks, I kind of themed it around the submarine voyage at Disneyland. So, and I had it rigged up with bubble wands all around the perimeter of the tank so that I could make bubbles come up, just like the bubbles come up on the glass on the submarine voyage at Disneyland, so that it makes it feel like you're diving. So I kind of did that with that tank. But that's the closest I've come to actually theming a tank towards anything, in the entertainment industry. So, let me catch up here. Shelley wants to know my favorite sci-fi movie. Oh, right there. Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest. It's also my favorite movie, just flat out, period, movie. Love that movie. Absolutely loved it. Loved working on it. Had a great time. Actually, going to be working on a project with somebody that featured in that film. So that's very cool. So that's coming up. Something that Jerry and I are working on. Yeah, I just love Galaxy Quest. It's just a great film. There are so many other films. I mean, if you want to talk about like classic stuff going way, way back, I love The Day the Earth Stood Still. I love the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. What else? When Worlds Collide is another one that I really like a lot. The original Planet of the Apes, great film. It's a fantastic film. So there's a lot. And Fantastic Voyage, another great film that I love. Let's see. What else do we have here? Let's see. Vucky is here. Hello, Vucky. How are you? Let's see. Yes, that's the one she was talking about. They were talking about, excuse me, the Goldfish tank. Yes, with the individual valves. Yes, you may have seen that mentioned in one of my videos talking about it. Yes, I had individual valves that I could control all the bubble wands and get the air, the bubbles coming up from whatever side of the tank. It was just really just a crazy little boy thing to do, but I enjoyed doing it back then. So. Lucas Studio says my favorite sci-fi movie is Empire Strikes Back. That's my second favorite. Yes, love Empire Strikes Back as well. So it's my favorite of the Star Wars films. Let's see here. So one of the reasons I was going to say, the reason I'm doing a live stream today is not just because I try to do one on the first Friday of the month, but also because I had other videos that I was working on for you guys. But I I didn't get them done because there's just been a lot going on in the family here and a lot of stuff that we've been dealing with and such. So as some of you may have seen in the community tab, and I hope you all go to the community tab here on the Aquatasy channel just to check it out because I post interesting things there and sometimes surveys and such. But we've had a loved one in the hospital, and that has taken up a lot of our time. Just kind of going back and forth to the hospital and helping deal with the whole situation, and so it's a close family member, and it's been rough, and that's one of the reasons. And then so we're not getting a lot of sleep, and we're running a lot of errands and trying to take care of things and trying to help with the situation, and that has made it so that by the time I sit down to edit a video for you guys, I'm like out. I'm gone. And I just can't keep my eyes open. And so I work on it, and I work on it here and there, and I work on it throughout the week, and I get ready. I think, okay, I'm going to get it done this Friday, and I don't get it done. And I don't get it. So I've got like 3 or 4 videos that are already shot, some of them halfway edited. One I really thought I was going to get done for today, didn't, so you'll get it next week. But that's okay. It's family. You got to put family first sometimes, and you have to take care of your family. So those videos will be coming. They'll be coming. But another thing that's happened is that during this time, of course, I haven't talked to you guys for a while because I think it was in May that I did the last live stream, And I don't know if I've posted anything since May, but one of the things that happened is that I had a tank crash on me. I don't mean like shatter crash. I mean like the filter just went. That one right there, my little 5-gallon tank that was all themed to India and had Indian species in it and everything. The filter conked out on me and I didn't realize it, and then the biological filter died and it became a toxic environment, and so I had to very quickly pull the fish out of there. Lost 2 of them, unfortunately, but I pulled my zebra danios out. They are now over in the Thailand project, just chilling there for a while until I get this thing set up again. I also had to pull the snail out of there, my black racer nerite snail, who I refer to as Racer X. They're over here cleaning up this tank now. So that's happened. Another thing is we've been dealing with the entertainment industry being shut down. That's where my wife and I work in the entertainment industry. She's also an actress there, and so production is shut down, post-production is shut down. That's made things difficult. So so you scramble to try to do other little side gigs and take on other freelance work and that sort of thing, and it's difficult. And I think I mentioned this last time. Sean Peck from Peck Tech is he's going through sort of the same thing because he was on the other end of things. He worked for a theater chain, big theater chain, and they've had to be closed. There's no movies, and they're not letting people into the theaters, really. I mean, it started to open up some, and now in some places they're starting to close it down again because of the global health crisis, which I will not name because I don't want to be demonetized on this video, and I don't know if YouTube's still doing that, but I'm not taking any chances. So we'll just refer to it again as the creepin' crud. So because of the creepin' crud all over the place, the entertainment industry has been shut down for a big portion of it. So it's just now starting to open up again, but that's been a serious issue during the past few months here. So that's rough. And then if I get distracted once in a while, it's because I can hear something outside. I hope you guys can't hear it. I've got a pretty good noise canceling microphone. But this global health crisis, the creepin' crud, has affected a lot of people, and the sheltering at home has affected a lot of people. And we have a neighbor who I don't know why, but she has decided to talk to the crows. We have a lot of crows in the neighborhood, and they make a fair amount of noise. It doesn't bother me. But what does bother me is hearing our next door neighbor cawing back at the crows. And so she'll caw, caw, caw at the crows and tell them, okay, go away, crow, caw, caw, caw. No, you can't stay here. Go away. And it's like all hours of the day she's doing this from the morning until the evening. And so I'm still hearing her every so often outside right now. But hopefully you can't hear it here in the fabulous Aquatasy studios. But I hope she's all right. I hope she's just having a lark. Well, that's a different kind of bird. I hope she's just having fun, but it's getting a little spooky now because she does it every day. So anyway, so those are some of the not so positive things. On the positive side, like I said, I've got stuff shot for you already that is ready to be edited, is being edited. My daughter's tank is, I got that overhauled, and there's a video coming of that, and she's gotten some really cool, nice fish in there, and I hope to show those to you soon. As you can see, I finally got my hair cut. That's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, I mean, after, the hair cutters being, closed down because of the creepin' crud, and I hadn't had my hair cut since January, so it got pretty long. Here, let me, I'll show you what I mean here. So, see, there I go. That's what it looked like before I got my hair cut. No, I'm kidding. That's my friend Felix Silla. The original cousin It was also an Ewok in the Return of the Jedi. My good buddy there, Felix. No, this is how long my hair got before I got it cut. And that doesn't even begin to show how long it was in back, too. So, yeah. So I was really, really, really happy to have it cut again. So, someone has asked me, how are the bronze cories doing? They are doing fantastic. They have settled in. They're darting about the tank all the time. My daughter's tank, she's got 6 bronze cories, and they're wonderful. They're just so much fun. They still get a little spooked. It's funny when you walk up into the tank, they'll spook for a moment and they'll dash into the plants, and then they'll come back out again right afterwards. Like, oh, okay, nothing, no problem. And then, so it's great. So let's see. Oh, Susan says the students of Alabama have started doing creep and crud parties and inviting people to come to get infected with it. And there is a pot you win if somebody is sick with it and it's completely messed up. Well, that's weird. Why would you intentionally do it? I mean, I understand, the idea of building up immunity, herd immunity, that kind of thing, but that's just insane. That's just wrong. Don't put yourself in harm's way. I mean, I'm not going to live my life in fear. Actually, one of the cool things that did happen, since I last talked to you, was I had a chance to go down to Dallas, which was nice. I was doing a signing at Order 66 Toys, big Star Wars toy store, big, very popular store, and they do these wonderful live streams on Facebook where they sell all these different toys and collectibles, and they had me down there for their Friday night live stream at the beginning of June, and that was just a blast. It was great. But and at the time, the creep and crud was not that big a thing there. They were I had to wear a mask the whole time from when I left the house, and I took the train to to SFO. We have the Bay Area Rapid Transit trains that go all around the Bay Area. I had to wear the mask at the station, on the train, to the airport, all through the airport, on the 3-hour flight. So by the time I got to Dallas, I'd been wearing a mask for 7 hours straight. I get there, the people that pick me up, they look at me and they go, "What are you wearing that for? You look like a Californian." So so things were a little more relaxed, and also because it's hot and humid down there, which is what kills off the creep and crud. So that's a good thing. But so I'm not going to live my life in fear. But gosh, to actually try to intentionally catch it, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So, all right. So, Cichlids 23 is here. Hey, it's Darth Vader. They say yes. It is I. So, let's see. Marcus loves anime, toys, and fun. How you doing? Here, wants to know, do you prefer roses or lilacs? Roses. We have roses in our backyard. We've got a bunch of roses back there. I like lilacs, but I like roses. Actually, my favorite is irises. That's my favorite flower. I love irises because you can put them in a pond too, which is nice. I like to have them in a pond. Shelley Bradley says, I'm planning to go to Disneyland next year. Yes, I would love to go to Disneyland. It's been a very, very, very long time since I set foot inside Walt Disney's original Magic Kingdom. Last time I was inside Disneyland was 2004, and that's crazy for a guy that's like an absolute Disneyland fanatic. 2004, and I've never been to Disney California Adventure. I didn't even see the original version that everybody hated. So, no, the last time I was inside a Disney park was 2006 when I went to Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea in obviously Tokyo, which was amazing. Wonderful place. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's see. So I hope you have a great time there. Yes, he has notes because I don't want to forget stuff because I'm sleep deprived. So, also, I'll let you know that the 20-gallon tank is scaped. So my fish should be able to move back in there as soon as it's cycled. So I gotta get that cycled, and then they can move back, and I won't have to listen to them complain anymore about things. And also, I had a birthday since I last talked to you. So June 22nd was my birthday, and I turned years old. So, happy birthday to me. So go ahead, take a guess. Guess how old I am. That's fine. I will not be insulted, even if you guess older than what you think I am. But, shall we say, it's the very first time for me ever going to Disneyland. Wow. I will give you some information to help you plan out your trip, because there's some definite things you need to learn before you go. Don't go without knowing stuff ahead of time, because you'll waste a lot of time in line. Just remember that Fast Pass is your friend. So, Lucas Studio says there are so many Easter eggs at Galaxy's Edge. Yes, there are. I also have a friend that works at Galaxy's Edge there, Margot Apostolos, and she was actually one of the original Ewoks in Return of the Jedi. So if you see a little person working there, that's probably her. Tell Margot I said hi. So, you guys guessed 58. Ha! All right, Cichlid 23 says if Yoda's 400, you're about 52. Thank you. You're letting me believe that I play with a full deck, huh? Okay. He looks like he's in his 40s. Oh, God bless you, Susan. So no, Vucky and Shelley, you got it right. 58. That's what I turned this year. Of course, if you go to IMDb, it's pretty easy. You can look me up and you can see exactly what my birthday is. So, yes. Thank you very much. Gio, how you doing? Good to see you. Yes. So, and Super Ghost Duck is here. Have you ever tried to make an obstacle course style tank for your fish? Also, happy birthday, Mr. 22-year-old. Thank you. No, I've never tried to make an obstacle course. I did have, way back when, in that old fish tank that I mentioned, the Goldfish tank that I had all the bubble wands with, I did set up several little caves that were not dead ends. You could actually, the fish could swim through them. I set up a lot of caves with rose quartz that could have kind of been an obstacle course, but no, I've never actually tried to set one up or train the fish to do it. I have seen people train their fish to do it. They've trained their bettas, train their goldfish to actually run an obstacle course. Some fish are pretty smart. And then don't try it with cichlids, because they're smart enough not to do it. So, and let's see. What else good has been going on? Also, like I said, I've actually started working on a new project with Jerry Cornell, with Theme Parkology. I won't mention it all yet because we're still in the planning stages on it, but it's going to be very, very cool. In fact, Jerry's got a whole thing coming to his Theme Parkology site, a network of streaming entertainment for you, all based around theme parks and entertainment industry and stuff like that. So make sure you go check out themeparkology.com. Let's see. Bucky says, I think it's a lack of white hair on the top. Yeah, I'm pretty blessed in that area there. I have not dyed my hair for a very long time, so that's why you can see, gray at the temples, gray down here. As I tell people, I don't have snow on the roof. I've got frost on the front porch. So that's it. So, like I said, you've got to count your blessings. You can't, look at all the bad stuff and say, oh, okay, we've been under lockdown and, people are sick and people are out of work. And it's like, yeah, you could focus on all that and you can just go crazy with that. And I'm trying not to focus on the bad stuff. I'm trying to focus on the positive. And that's the main reason I wanted to come on today and do a live stream. So what do you want to talk about? This is, I dare you to ask me whatever you want to ask. And as long as it's not covered by some non-disclosure agreement or isn't just totally rude, I will answer whatever question you want to ask. So about fish, about aquariums, about the entertainment industry, about anything you want to talk about. Jerry says this project is going to be amazing. Yes, it is. We just had a Zoom conference with a lot of the principal people involved. The writer for the project, the producers and actors, and it's going to be really, really cool. It is. Okay. Fish fan forever. How you doing? Yo, how you doing? What's your favorite gourami? My favorite gourami, I love honey gouramis. I love honey gouramis. I think they're just adorable little fish. I think they're great. I love the three-spot gouramis as well, but it's a hit or miss with them. Sometimes you can get a really, I mean, they're beautiful fish. They're the same species as the opaline gouramis. Sometimes they're called blue gouramis or yellow gouramis. It's the same thing. They're just different color morphs. It's a beautiful species, but sometimes you can get some that are very, very peaceful and get along with others, and sometimes you get some nasty, vindictive ones that just want to, take a swipe at the other fish. And so, but I love them. But I think honey gouramis are my favorite. I also like I like dwarf gouramis, but I like the powder blue variety. I really like the powder blue ones, and I would like to get one of those. Other gouramis, I mean, there's a lot of good ones. I like the licorice gourami is kind of a cool one, and the little sparkling gouramis are great too. I would like to. I'd get a school of those, which is interesting because I've never had a school of gouramis. I've only ever had individual ones. So let's see. Lucas Studios asks, Andrew, have you bred any fish? Yes, I've bred them, battered them, deep fried them. They're just no. Have I bred any fish? I've attempted it. Well, okay, I don't count live bearers. I don't count guppies or platies or mollies or anything like that because they kind of do that on their own. It's kind of hard to stop them. So I mean, you can do intentional breeding. Have a breeding thing where you're trying to get a particular color morph or design. I haven't done that with those. In the past, way back when I first started out in this hobby, actually, let me see here. Go back to the Wayback Machine here. Oh, that's not it. Hang on. Not that one. Not that slide. Hold on. There we go. There's my grandfather. My grandfather is my grandfather Charlie is the one that got me hooked on this hobby. And he and I, way back when, we tried to breed bettas. And he had a little 2.5 gallon tank that he had made a divider for, and so he would keep the female on one side, the male on the other side, and he'd wait until the male had made a bubble nest, and then he'd pull the divider out, he'd let them mate, then he'd put the divider back in so that the male wouldn't beat up the female, and several times we got it to where they were just almost had fry, and then nope, nothing. And so it never quite worked out. I would love to breed some kind of egg layer. I have never bred egg layers, but I've never really tried it. I've never, just tried to set up the conditions and get the fish conditioned for it. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, including water temperature and how many water changes you do and things like that, and food and everything that will condition fish to be in a breeding mood. But no, I haven't actually tried it. So I would like to. I'll start with something easy maybe. But let's see. Cichlids23 asks, what's your favorite fish out of each Great Rift Lake in Africa? This is kind of sad because I'm not really a big African cichlid fan. I mean, I appreciate them. I see them in other people's tanks, but I'm just not a big fan. Although I do like shell dwellers. I like the shell dwellers a bit. But I'm not big into them. I much prefer South and Central American cichlids. There's just something about, or West African cichlids. Just something about them I like more. The South African cichlids, to me, they're this sort of they're beautiful, but they don't have as much personality as the cichlids from South America or Central America. A lot of the dwarf cichlids. Like my daughter now has a crebensis in her tank from which is from West Africa, has a ton of personality. That's what I like. I like that sort of thing. So I love to see other people's tanks of African cichlids. I think I would get bored with an African cichlid tank, which is odd. You just put it seems to me it's a bunch of fish to swim back and forth, and each one figuring out, okay, should I start a fight or should I not start a fight? That just that doesn't really interest me. So sorry to break your heart on that one if I've messed it up there. Ah, my good buddy Peter G is here. Hi, his name is Peter. Let's see. He asks, what's the toughest fish to keep in the tank? I had fish that kept jumping out of the tank. Yeah, there are a lot of species that if you don't have that tank really covered, they will go carpet diving on you, and you don't want that. There are some tetras. There's one called a jumping tetra that's pretty hard. Bala sharks, if you don't have the tank covered, they will jump out sometimes. There are certain loaches that will get up ahead of steam and just pop right out too. You got to be careful. But it's usually the fast swimming fish or the ones that are easily startled that do it. But those are the ones that come to mind. The bala sharks, definitely. They can get a little high strung, a little nervous, and they will do that. There are some larger cichlids that they get very feisty and aggressive, and especially like the South American or Central American cichlids, they get really big, and you have to have a cover on that tank. Otherwise, and you have to have a heavy weight on top of it sometimes, or they will bounce that cover right off of there, and they'll just jump right out of the tank because they just get really aggressive. It's odd, but they do. So let me go back here through the chat. Let me scroll back up in case I missed something here. One moment, please. I was talking and I missed a few things here. Jerry says, I heard a rumor that the very talented Jacqueline Liz is affiliated with the project. Yes, she is. And she's good. Jacqueline Liz is a wonderful voice actor. So she is working on this project with us there. So, and Jerry also says, I also heard that the actor Andrew is a diva, is insisting on getting his M&Ms in separate colors and jars. Yes, of course. That's in my writer, okay? You've got to figure that out, okay? You've got to read the writer, talk to my manager, and make it happen, Jerry. Make it happen. All right. I don't even eat M&Ms. I don't eat chocolate. I've been caffeine free since '93. So, all right. Amy Atkins. Hello, Amy. Wants to know Hillstream loaches or autosynclus, which are easier to keep? I would say autos. Autos are easier to keep, but here's the trick with autosynclus. Because with hill streams, you got to keep the water really clean. It's really, you can't really let it slide. Autos, you can kind of let the water quality slide a little bit. I mean, not a lot, but you know, you don't have to stay absolutely on top of the water changes. But with autosynclus, the trick with them is don't keep them singly. You've got to keep them in a school. They're a schooling species, and they really do need the company of others because of their kind, because otherwise they get really nervous and they don't do well. So that's what you need to do. You've got to keep them in, I would say, at least 3. Better if you can keep 6 or more of the autos. And it's fun to watch them too, to watch them swim around together. But definitely that. And also you got to make sure that the autos have enough vegetable matter in their diet, because they are algae grazers and off-walks grazers, and so they eat that in your tank there. And if the tank is clean of that stuff, then you want to make sure you throw in some algae tabs or some kind of something, some cucumber or some blanched zucchini or something for them occasionally, just like you would with a bristlenose pleco. So there we go. What else we got here? Lucas Studio says, I'm looking to breed some zebra danios. Yeah, they're probably very easy to breed. A lot of people I know have been doing that. It says, Fish Fan Forever says, if you need one, if you have one, you need to get 2 honey gourami. They are actually really playful. Yeah, I think that was probably what the problem was before when I had them, and I didn't know it at the time, as I had a honey gourami, and it was just by itself, and with a couple other, schooling fish, and it was kind of like, kind of lonely. It seemed like it was kind of lonely. Like, hey guys, where are you going? Hey, oh, can I school too? Oh, you guys are swimming fast. So yeah, I should probably, you should probably keep them in pairs or more than that. That's very good advice there. Let's see here. Story still catching up. Talks amongst yourselves. Let's see. Fishman Forever says, I heard that convict cichlids are really easy to breed, and they don't eat the fry. That's one good thing you can say about convict cichlids, is that they are very easy to breed, and they are very good parents. They take care of their fry extremely well. However, if you have any other fish in the tank, the convict cichlids will be an absolute terror to them. They will just be, they will have all, you will, if you have a breeding pair of convict cichlids in a tank, it could be a 75-gallon tank. They'll be over here, and all the other fish will be huddled over into the other corner for fear of their lives, because convict cichlids are just vicious. I mentioned this in my video, 10 Terrible Community Aquarium Fish. They were right up near the top. They were number 2 on the list. They're wonderful fish. They're absolutely wonderful fish. And if you want to just keep one, a male or a female by themselves, in a community tank, they do fine. But don't try it if you've got a breeding pair in a community tank. But yeah, they're wonderful fish. They're easy to breed. I mean, they're the guppies of the egg-laying world. They just, you don't have to do anything. They just breed. Male and female, and you get a bunch of fry. And they are exceptionally good parents. They will raise that fry really well. And they're very prolific. So if you're going to breed convict cichlids, be ready to have a lot of fry. So that's how it works. Let's see, what else? Susan Stewart asks, what is your favorite Disney movie? Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty, the original 1950s Sleeping Beauty. 1959, I believe, is when it came out. Love that movie. I just love it from an artistic standpoint. Love the storyline. Has the best Disney villain, Maleficent, voiced by Eleanor Audley. Fantastic. Animated, I believe, by Milt Kahl. Just a fantastic film. I just loved it. I've seen that film over and over and over again. Back in the 1980s, it was actually re-released in theaters, and it was playing at my local theater with Jason and the Argonauts, the great old Ray Harryhausen movie. And I went to that theater. I probably went 3 times a week for about 3 or 4 weeks. They kept it going at the theater, and I think it was probably because I kept coming. And I was bringing my friends to come see it. And I just saw it over and over and over again. It's like, I know that film so well that I used to actually, when I was setting up video monitors, I would run a copy of Sleeping Beauty because I knew the colors of it so well that I could adjust the colors on the monitor just by running that movie and seeing that everything was right. That's how many times I've seen that thing. But it's a wonderful, wonderful film here. Let's see, catching up here. Cyclist23 says, there is never a dull day in a Mbuna tank. True, I know. But it's just not, I don't know, it's just not, I appreciate them, but it just isn't my cup of tea. And it's not everybody's going to like the same kind of type of fish there, which is great because that's why there's so many available to us in the hobby. That's what makes it so wonderful. It's like music. Not everybody's going to like the same type of music. There'll be some crossover and everything like that, and it's great here. So yeah, so enjoy them, and I will enjoy yours. If you post videos of them, I will enjoy yours. But I just have never wanted to keep African cichlids that much. So let's see. Favorite Epistogramma? Cockatoides. I love the cockatoides. Those are great. The cockatoo cichlids, the dwarf cichlids. Actually, that was what I wanted to get for my daughter for her aquarium after I got it all cleaned up, because I think they're great. But they're expensive, and I couldn't find them singly. I could not find them available locally at all. And then, which I thought, San Francisco Bay Area, there's got to be a store here somewhere that's selling them, and nobody was selling any kind of Epistos. And I looked online, and everybody was selling them as pairs or trios, and it's like, well, that wasn't in my daughter's budget, so we ended up with the Cribensis instead, which is great. I love cribs. So, let's see. Okay, trying to catch up here. Y'all are talking too fast. That's okay. Oh yeah, that's another one of jumping fish. Somebody mentioned hatchet fish. I love hatchet fish. They are a surface dweller. They get really fast. They basically fly at the surface of the tank there, at the surface of the water. You do have to keep the tank covered really well, or they will leap right out, and they can get scared easily and just jump right out of the tank. So you don't want that. So, Super Gus Tech says, not to spoil anything, but the original version of the Grimm Brothers stories, such as Sleeping Beauty, were a lot darker originally. Yes, if you see the Stephen Sondheim musical Into the Woods, it basically is based on the whole idea that the Brothers Grimm stories did not have happy endings necessarily. And it was funny when my wife and I saw that play. It's a Broadway show, and they've made it into a movie and everything. When we saw the play, when it came, the Broadway production came to San Francisco, and we saw it at the Golden Gate Theater. It ends at the. There's an intermission at the beginning, in the middle of the movie. In the middle of the, I need to sleep at night. There's an intermission at the middle of the play, and the house lights go up. But it's at a moment where there is a happy ending, supposedly. But there's another half of the play, and then you see the sort of the grim side of the Brothers Grimm's tales there, and you also see that now it's like the the handsome prince and the princess are having to deal with their marriage and their marriage problems and things like that, and it's an interesting take on things. There were about, I kid you not, about a third of the audience left at the happy ending, which was the intermission. They got up and left, and they did not come back. I guess they thought the play was over, which my wife and I thought was hilarious, because it's like, oh my gosh, they're going to get home and they're going to find out, somebody's going to tell them, oh yeah, I saw that play too. I love that ending part where, this happened and that happened. They're going to go, what? We didn't see that. Well, they left an hour into it. So, okay, what do we have? Let's see. Jerry wants to know, has there ever been a movie that you wished you had worked on? Oh, gosh. Many of them. Many of them. Sure, I would have loved to have worked on a bunch of the Marvel films. Love the Marvel films, I would love to have worked on, just so many of them. It's hard to say, but I think the Marvel ones are the ones that spring to mind, because I really enjoy those. At first, I kind of wanted to work on the Lord of the Rings films, and then I talked to my friends that were working on them, and just found out what just absolute, beast of a project it was to work on from a visual effects standpoint. So, kind of happy I didn't. So yeah. Okay. Fish Fan Forever says, I had one sunset orange honey gourami. Since I had room in the tank, I impulse bought a second yellow one, golden yellow one. Mine was so excited to see her that they just played with each other the rest of the day. Oh, that is so cute. Kimberly is here. Hello, Kimberly. How are you? How did you celebrate when you found out that you landed the role of Darth Vader? For those of you who don't know, a few of you who may not know, I spent 12 years playing the character of Darth Vader for Lucasfilm and the Lucas companies. On film, for television, for commercials, print ads, video games, magazine covers, toy packaging, live appearances, you name it. How did I celebrate? I was just kind of giddy. And it was kind of overwhelming at first. Because first I had to try on the costume to make sure it actually fit. And I went up to Skywalker Ranch, met with Don Bees, who was from the ILM Model Shop, but he was also the archivist at the ranch at that time, and he puts me into the costume. It's a very elaborate costume. It's 17 pieces if you include the lightsaber hanging off the belt, and so you put it on very slowly, and so it's a little disorienting when you first put it on, because it's very, very heavy. You don't realize it because it's one more straw, going on the camel's back there, and you're hoping you're not going to break underneath it. But and then the lenses of the mask kind of distort things as well. And of course, I'm not wearing my glasses underneath the mask, so that, yes, I do wear glasses. There they are. And I don't wear contacts, and it would not do good to wear contacts in a mask like that where it's all hot and sweaty and nasty. So, but yeah, I thought it was a one and done. I thought it was a once in a lifetime opportunity that I just, thank God I had a chance to do it. But then they just kept calling me back, and I ended up playing Vader 70 times over 12 years. So my wife made me keep count after that. But so I really didn't quite know how to celebrate something like that. So I look at actually playing Vader for 12 years, the celebration. That was my celebration. Is every time I got to do it is like, hey, that's great. I get to do it again. I'm just thankful for that. So, okay. Stephen Thompson wants to know, do I have a bucket list of fish? Oh yes. If I am ever allowed to have a tank big enough, I want a royal pleco. I love royal plecos. I think they're amazing looking creatures. It just, I love them. I want those. I mean, there's so many. I also want a black knife ghost fish, black ghost knife fish. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of sleep deprived, but those are great. Those are cool fish too. There's a lot. I would love to keep some Congo tetras. I'd love to do a big, West African tank and have Congo tetras in it. They're beautiful species. There's so many fish on my bucket list. That I don't need a bucket. I need an ocean. I need that isn't, and that's not even talking about. One day I would like to try saltwater. I've never done a saltwater tank. I've never done a reef or anything like that. One day, and Michael Ahrens from Ahrens Aquariums is always needling me like, when are you gonna do it? When are you gonna do it, buddy? So, but no, I haven't ever done it. But one day. Let's see. Okay. What else we got here? Trying to catch up. Andrew, have you kept angelfish? Yes, I had an angelfish, Senor Fish. You'll see him in some of my videos there, so check him out. He's an interesting fish compared to the other fish that are always talking and yakking at me, because although he understands and speaks English fluently, he refuses to do so on camera, which irritates my other fish incredibly. So he speaks only in Spanish. So, oh yeah, black ghost knife. Great fish, beautiful, love them. Kimberly says, when we had a tank way back when, we had a wrasse. Enjoyed my saltwater tank. Yeah, wrasses are great. I love wrasses. They're wonderful. One day I'll get to it. The reason I don't do saltwater is because I think maybe some people on the saltwater side of this hobby can correct me. It doesn't seem as forgiving, and with my crazy lifestyle and things happening and projects that come up and elderly family members getting ill and things like that, I don't always feel like I can stay on top of things. You really got to stay on top of the water chemistry and everything and keep it clean. With a planted tank, I can kind of let things slide a little bit here and there, because a lot of the plants will do some filtering for you and help things out. Not entirely. You can't just can't lean on that over and over again, but it will help you in a pinch. But one day also, the saltwater side of the hobby is way more expensive. Way more expensive. The equipment's more expensive. The fish are more expensive. I mean, I remember hearing people I know talk about, oh yeah, I bought this fish and it just died on me, and it's like, well, how much did you pay for it? Oh, about $200-300. No, I've never paid that much for a fish, So let's see. Need some discus and stingray. You're talking about you, or you're talking about me? Discus is another one that I would love to keep. However, again, you gotta keep that water quality perfect, just kind of pristine for them. And that's just not how I roll. I'm sorry. I would love to be the model example of being the best fish keeper and everything like that. I'm not. My tanks get a little dirty, and then I clean them up, and I keep that in mind. Like I said, I keep a lot of plants in there that'll help filter out the nitrates and that sort of thing. And I kind of watch my bio load as far as the fish that are in there, and I try to keep very hardy fish. And so just in case something happens and I don't get to do the maintenance on a regular basis. So Sigla23 is saying later, y'all. Laters, y'all. So good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Thank you. So Lily Atkins is here. Hello, Lily. Wants to know, are you human? I mean, do you ever sleep? You seem so busy. Sleep is for the weak. No, yes, I sleep. Occasionally my body will catch up with me and say, no, you're going to sleep. And I just hit the deck and I'm out. Yeah, I sleep. I just don't sleep as much as I would like to, maybe. And I don't. And this whole, global health crisis has thrown me out of whack as well. And then having gone to Europe just before that, I just never have gotten back on a proper sleep cycle. It's just been a rough one for me. So, Steven says, I need to get them. I need to get some discus. I messaged you on Instagram. Yes, got that. And that I traded my 210 for a 120 and keep the discus and stingray in it. That's great. Yeah. I was really cool to see those pictures. Yeah, stingrays are wonderful too. I know Joey Mullins, King of DIY. He's kept stingrays for ages, and I love watching his videos on that. So, Shelley Bradley says, I can totally relate to that, Andrew. The not sleeping. Yeah, it's funny because it's like, you know, I'll post a little something because maybe I'm up or I can't sleep, or I'll post something maybe to the to Instagram or to the community tab on you know, the Aquatasy channel here. Maybe it'll be like 2, 3 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. Maybe I'll post something on Facebook, and Shelley's like right responding to it like that. It's like, gosh, you're not sleeping either. Okay. Some people don't sleep. I mean, Bob Hope, legendary entertainer Bob Hope, was somebody who didn't sleep regular hours. He would catnap all throughout the day, and he was doing this. And it wasn't just like when he was older. Even when he was younger, he was doing that. He just didn't sleep regular hours, but that's how he functioned, and he did all right. I occasionally have to sleep, and it'll catch up to me. Last night I was editing a video for you guys about the renovation of my daughter's aquarium, and I'm doing something interesting with it. I try not to repeat myself with videos unless it's like a series like the Fish in the Darndest Places or the Aquatasy Countdown or something like that. I try not to repeat the same style of videos so that it keeps me engaged, and if I'm engaged, that makes it, you know, hopefully a more interesting video for you. And two, I don't want to just give you guys the same stuff over and over and over again. So I'm trying to do a little something different with this video, but it's been making it a little more elaborate by doing so. And but I sat down to work on it last night, and I could not keep my eyes open. I just couldn't. So my lack of sleep caught up with me finally. So let's see. Shelley says, I have severe insomnia. I have a friend with insomnia. A gentleman by the name of Mr. Lobo, who is a horror show host. In fact, his show is called Cinema Insomnia. You can find it on Roku. You can find it in other places as well. You can, I think there's bits of it here and there on YouTube and Vimeo. Great guy, one of my dear friends. But yeah, he started that because he really did have insomnia. So I think it's better now. Let's see. Muppet929 says, I learned to keep only hardy fish now. Makes me feel like I'm pretty much constantly accomplishing something. Yes, it's true. It's like, you know, if you keep platies and zebra danios and stuff like that, you feel like a rock star. That, you know, it's because they're very forgiving fish. That's one of the reasons why when people do like a fish-in cycle, as opposed to a fishless cycle on the tank, they will choose those kind of fish to do it with. They are very, very hardy fish. Common goldfish. Same thing too. Not so much the fancy goldfish, but the common goldfish, very hardy, kind of bulletproof fish. One of my least favorite fish, the Chinese algae eater. Can't stand them. They're evil. They're the spawn of evil. But they're vicious, nasty fish. But they are bulletproof. You know, so if you want to keep one of those in a tank all by itself, you'll feel great because you could drain the tank and have no water in there, and they practically, and they would live. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but that's how hardy they are. So, let's see. Amy Atkins, gravel, sand, or bare bottom? In your opinion, what's best for fancy goldfish? I actually have always kept gravel in my tanks for goldfish. I just find it easier to clean than sand. Sand looks nice. The trick though with gravel is you want to make sure that that the gravel is a size that is not so large that it lets too much junk compound down inside between the gravel. Also, you don't want it to be at a size that it's going to get caught in the mouths of your goldfish, because your goldfish are scavengers, and they're going to be, you know, sucking into the gravel there, and they will suck up some of the gravel and spit it back out again. You don't want it to be a size that's going to get caught in their throats or caught in their mouth right there, because that's, you know, really bad and can be very fatal for them. So, but I've always kept gravel in my goldfish tanks. Sand can work as well too. But bare bottom, some people like to do bare bottom tanks because it's easy to clean. You can see exactly where the dirt is. And I covered this in my Dangers of a Bare Bottom Aquarium video, which, you know, there are some dangers to it. It's kind of a sensational, yes, it's kind of a clickbait title, but I just wanted to discuss that topic, and so I wanted to make sure people clicked on it. But I deliver the goods. Anytime I use sort of a clickbaity title, I make sure I deliver the goods, and you don't just go, oh, well, this wasn't what I thought it was. But, you know, bare bottom aquariums can work very well for goldfish because, you know, a lot of people like to do it because they want to concentrate on just the beauty of the fish and not be bothered by anything else in there. And makes it much easier for maintenance. I like gravel, but all three would work. You know, each one has its own advantages and disadvantages, but personally, I like gravel. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Susan says, last year I went with my friends to see a live stage performance of Grease. It was pretty awesome because I had never seen a stage performance of it. That's the interesting thing too. I mean, I started out in theater. As an actor, I started out in theater before I moved into film and television and games and voiceover and that sort of thing. And I love theater. I still love theater. It's, you know, if there was money in theater, I would be working in theater. It's hard to make a living in theater, but it's an amazing experience because it's live. I mean, I'm live here with you guys right now, and I'm getting, you know, your responses here, but it's not the same as being there with a live audience, and you can instantly hear whether they're enjoying the show that you're doing or not. But it's also an incredible experience from the audience standpoint to know that this is going on live in front of you there. It's very different than watching a movie, and it's never the same production twice. I've done shows that ran for, you know, weeks, months, and you know, it was never the same twice because the audience is always different. Things happen a little bit differently. Maybe something goes wrong one night that you're doing the show. I was doing one play early on when I was very young. I think I was about 10 years old doing a show, and it was set in the 1800s, and we had an actual antique glass lamp sitting on this table in the middle of the set, and a bowl of walnuts there too that was a prop in the production. And I remember one night I tripped on the rug that was underneath this, and I banged into the table, and it was like instantly all cast members, the hands were like on that lamp because it was a very expensive antique lamp. We didn't want it to hit the ground and crash, although the walnuts went everywhere. But we were professionals. I mean, even at age 10, I was acting like a professional. You know, the show must go on no matter what happens. And so we were still doing our lines and dialogue as we're picking up the walnuts here and there. But yeah, there's something about live theater. It's amazing. It's just like live music, concerts or anything, whether it's a symphonic concert or a rock concert or jazz or blues or whatever. There's something very different about hearing it live than actually, you know, just listening to it. You know, because when you're there live, you get to feel it in a way that you just don't from just listening or watching. So. Let's see here. Fishman Forever says, "Going to get some fancy goldfish one day." They're wonderful. I mean, they're probably my first love. And I don't recommend goldfish as a first fish for people because they're not a beginner fish. They really aren't. They do require a certain amount of maintenance that a lot of people are not prepared for. And also, it's like, gosh, if we could just bust the myth of the goldfish bowl. The goldfish bowl is the worst thing that you could do is put your fish in a goldfish in a goldfish bowl. Same thing with bettas. You know, the little betta bowl, those little tiny things, they're horrible. It's a death trap because the water gets so fouled so quickly. And, you know, goldfish, they need a nice big environment. And they need to not be bored. Goldfish can be very easily bored and they can get depressed. And I'm working on a video about all that, actually, about keeping goldfish. And bettas, they're actually a warm water species. They're a tropical fish, and they need to have a heated aquarium. They can do all right in a small container because they come from an environment where naturally there are times throughout the year where the water recedes and it gets very shallow, and they're able to survive. And they're labyrinth fish. They have the ability to gulp surface air to get the oxygen that they need. But goldfish, they're not a beginner fish, but they're my first love, and that's what I did start off with. But fortunately I had my grandfather who was able to help me out and get me initiated in the hobby, so that I wasn't flying blind with that. I don't recommend them as a first fish, but I do think that if you want to keep freshwater fish, at some point get some fancy goldfish. They're so rewarding. They're so much fun. Let's see. Stephen Thompson says he did gravel with my goldfish up until the last couple months. Now on sand. Yeah, I'd say I actually, if I were to set up a goldfish tank now, I might set up with sand instead, or maybe a combination of the two, because I kind of like the look of sand and gravel together, which is what I did with this pathetic tank that is all dead right now. But I'm gonna work on it, gonna revive it. But I did that, had small gravel and a little bit larger gravel and some bigger stones and some sand, and by doing that kind of combination I can make the tank look a little bit larger than it actually is. So it's kind of a little scaping technique here. Let's see. Fish Fan Forever says, I'm watching a very famous play right now. It's called Orange Honey Gourami and Yellow Honey Gourami. I'm sure they put on a show for you every day. That's great. That's fantastic. That's why we do this. It's not just it's not just like a decor in our home. We do it because we love fish. I can sit for hours staring at my fish. I mean, that was one of the things that working at Industrial Light and Magic and LucasArts before that, it's a crazy business, and you work long hours, and you can work, for months on a shot to get it done, and it's crazy hours and mind-numbing tedium sometimes. And I want to come home at the end of the day and I stare at that fish tank, and it helps. There was a time when I had a hard time with I kind of let my interest in the hobby wane. I'd gotten down to one fish tank, the 20-gallon that you're all familiar with there if you watch the channel, and I just let it slide. I was just topping it off. I wasn't doing any water changes. In fact, here, let me show you. There's my grandfather again. All right, but I had let it become really overgrown, and there were only 3 fish in there. I had 2 head and tail light tetras, and my clown pleco, and that was it. That was all that was in there, because there wasn't room for anything else. It had actually gotten worse than that, and my wife finally, and it's kind of stupid that I let the hobby slide like that, because it was something that was so rewarding to me and would help me not to be so stressed. I could de-stress by sitting there and watching the fish tank for a while, seeing the show that's being put on inside my tank. That's why I look at the fish tanks as a show, as a presentation. So I have that sort of that show business look, that cinematic look at things with the fish tanks. But I'd let that go on the back burner. I'd let it slide, and I was getting more and more stressed at work. And finally, my wife just said to me, she looked at the tank and she said, "Look, this thing is a hot mess. Clean it up, and I want to see some color when I walk past the tank. All right, I don't see any color other than green. So do something about it." And this is what started Aquatasy, because right at that same time, there was a PetSmart that was closing. They were moving to a different location. They had a whole bunch of stuff discounted. They were just clearing out the store. Everything must go. And I picked up some equipment, and I picked up some products there, and I picked up a copy of Tropical Fish Hobbyist magazine that I hadn't read for years and years and years, and it got me back into the interested in the hobby. And then I looked up some stuff on YouTube, And I found guys like Dustin of Dustin's Fish Tanks, who inspired me to you know watch more and more channels. And then I got onto the Tropical Fish Hobbyist magazine online forum, and you know, that's what inspired me. Everybody was saying, "Hey, post videos of your tanks, everybody," and that's how Aquatasy was born. But so I ended up with you know, taking the tank and cleaning it up, or at least clearing out the Anubias first, get that out of there, and the Java Fern, and then cleaning it up a bit, and then my wife said, "I want to see some color." Put some color in that tank, and then I ended up with these clowns, and I've been dealing with them and their chatty behavior ever since. So, and if you're new to the channel, you know, go watch some of the videos. You'll see what I'm talking about. These fish are pretty sassy. So, okay, and back to the chat we go. Let's see. Fish Fan Forever says, I don't like gravel because it's coarse and scrapes their scales when they're trying to hide under something. Sort of squeeze into a tight space. Nasty stuff. Scaped my betta with pretty... oh yeah, scraped up your betta pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, I try to get something that's got just really naturally smooth stones. I'm pretty careful about that. And like I said, I also add in sand. When you'll see when I finally get around to editing the video of the rescape of the 20-gallon tank that it's no longer just gravel in there. I've got sand in there too, and I've also got some ADA aqua soil underneath the gravel, so that so the gravel's capping it off, so that there's something nutrient down there, so I can put in, so that the new plants will actually have something to feed their roots. Let's see. Andrew, have you ever seen It from either 1990, 2017, or 2019? I saw the original 1990 TV movie and enjoyed it very much. Enjoyed it very much. I have a screener copy of the remake from 2017. I've never watched it. I get a lot of screeners. Being a member of the Visual Effects Society and the Screen Actors Guild, my wife also being a member of the Screen Actors Guild, we get a lot of screeners sent to us at the end of the year when it's award season. So you get these DVDs and Blu-ray discs that are sent to you by the studios because they want you to vote for their movies on the awards, for the Screen Actors Guild Awards, the Visual Effects Society Awards. If I was a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, I would get all kinds of screeners from that as well. All the guilds, all the unions, everything like that. They get, the studios send those members screeners because they want you to vote, because if their movie wins an award, that's marketing for them. So we get all these screeners, and so we get a bunch of them barraged at the end of the year. And that was one of the ones I got that year, but I never sat down to watch it. So no, I haven't seen it. So, but I did see the original version of it. Muppet929 says, what's your preferred thing, object to have Anubias attached to? Rocks. I like to see it growing on rocks. I also have it growing on driftwood, on Malaysian driftwood, but I don't know, it just looks cooler on a rock because you can just really see those roots grabbing onto it, and it gives it a more aged look to the aquarium. I like that. I really like that a lot. So, but in my son's tank, he's got Anubias and Java Fern growing all over the rocks and the wood in there, and it looks pretty cool. Right. Fish Fan Forever says, all fish need a tank that hides and things to interact with, provide mental stimulation. Yes, your fish need mental stimulation. They really do. It's something that a lot of people don't think about, but they do. Like any other animal, any other creature, they can get bored. They really can get bored. I mean, I don't know if amoebas get bored, but fish get bored. And when they get bored, some of them get kind of depressed, and then their health starts to slide. So goldfish need to have things to swim around. Tetras, Danios, everything. They need something to swim in and amongst. Some fish, they really need it. They will get really spooked if they don't have areas to retreat to. So it's good to have some kind of decor in the tank there. Let's see. Colin Barsby is here. Hello, Colin. Colin is from down under. My gosh, what time of day is it down there, Colin? It's got to be morning, right? Or early morning, something like that. If you've never seen Colin's channel, you got to check out Colin's channel. Please go check him out. Colin has a wonderful channel with some great videos, great fish, and everything. So Andrew, my wife, always says, get some color in the tank. Isn't that the truth? It's like my wife does. You know, she's like, I don't care. I don't want to have to do the maintenance on the tank. I don't want you to spend too many hours doing the maintenance on the tank, but I want something pretty to look at. So that's the key. You know, so long as I don't spend too much money and too much time on the tanks, she lets me have what I want to have, and that's fine. And I made a promise to her that Aquatasy would pay for itself. All these tanks that you see, they pay for themselves. I don't take money from anywhere else in our budget to do that. So the money comes from the Google AdSense that comes in from this channel, from a portion of the sales of the Aquatasy merch. So you know, if you go to the Aquatasy Teespring store, oops, there we go, you can see stuff like this for sale, and that. We got mugs, we got t-shirts, the ever popular I Suffer from M.T.S. multiple tank syndrome t-shirts, and mugs, of course. We've got the Keep Calm and Do a Water Change shirt and mug, and the fish tanks. You got a problem with that? Yeah, all of that available there as well. But you know, some of that, a portion of that goes to help the Starlight Children's Foundation, and the rest of it goes right back into this channel. All the stuff, anything that's pledged to the Aquatasy Patreon page. So that's how I keep this going. So, you know, if you want to see me do interesting, cool stuff with the tanks, then that's how it happens. So, because I promised my wife I would never, pull the money from elsewhere to take care of this. So, and so Aquatasy pays for itself. Let's see. Fish Fan Forever says, "Do you name your fish? I only name the ones that are unique, have personality, like gouramis and cichlids. I don't name all my schooling fish, like neon tetras and cory cats, though, because I can't tell them apart." That's very interesting. I actually did a whole video on this. It was for a while I was doing the question of the week videos, and it just became too big a burden on my schedule. I will try to go back to that because I've got a whole bunch of them that I want to do. They're fun videos to do because I do them as an absolute stream of consciousness video. I just sit down in front of the camera, nothing prepared except the question. I ask the question of you guys, and then I answer my own question. And it's just all stream of consciousness, a lot of it very humorous, and then I just cut it down and edit it out and just make it nice and concise, a lot of jump cut editing. And they're fun videos to do, but they do take a little bit of time. But I did a whole video on, do you name your fish? And the answer is, I named some of them. It's pretty much like you. It's like those that are individual, like Senor Fish, the angelfish, the blue zebra angelfish. That's his name. My catfish, my clown pleco is named Junior. My kids named him that. And then my three-line cory catfish is named Humphrey. But the individual fish, no, they don't have names. At least they haven't told me what their names are. So on my female betta, which maybe occasionally she'll swim over to this end of the tank there. Her name is Princess Bucket, which is my friend Peter's fault. Peter, are you still in the chat here? He's the one who named her Princess Bucket. And also my Siamese algae eater over there is named Squeegee, so because he keeps the glass clean. So that's. But other than that, no, I don't. So Lucas Studio says, I plan on naming my angelfish. I might give him a South American name. Eduardo is a name that I'm thinking of. I like that. That's very cool. Colin says it's just about hit midday down there in Australia. Wonderful, yeah. It says bright yellow and bright blue African cichlids are always her suggestion. Okay. Well, that's fine. Hey, you know, anytime you can get your significant other to approve of a fish, you know, score. That's fantastic. That's great. Now, do you want to keep African cichlids? Do you want to keep them? That's the thing, Colin. Fish Fan Forever says, I imagine social fish might be okay in a bare bottom tank with nowhere to hide because they get mental stimulation from each other. Still wouldn't do it though because it looks boring. Then that's, you know, that's everybody's taste there. There's nothing wrong with having a bare bottom aquarium. You can have other stuff. Bare bottom means that you just have no substrate. Doesn't mean that you don't have rocks in there or you know, a castle or whatever, you know, something in there, sunken ship, you know, floating plants, something in there, you know, driftwood. It just means that you don't have substrate. And it is important to have something for them to swim around. And this is something I'm going to talk about in the video that I'm going to do. But one thing about goldfish is that goldfish are not actually social fish. And which is something a lot of people think, well, is my goldfish going to get lonely? Actually, no. Your goldfish won't get lonely. They're not social fish. They may be social with you, which is interesting, but they won't be social with each other. They're not gregarious fish in that sense, except when it comes to mating time. Which is why you'll see them bump into each other sometimes, especially fancy goldfish. They'll actually swim right into each other because they're really not paying attention to each other. But the interesting thing about it is when you have a whole tank of them and it's bare bottom, there's nothing else in the tank, the other fish in the tank actually act as visual interest for your goldfish. So each one is decor for the other. So by having a bunch of fish that they can each swim around each other, that keeps them entertained, just as if they were swimming around rocks or wood or anything else. It's amazing, but that's their psyche. That's the way that they think. So, okay. Have you ever named a fish Vader? No, I have not. I've never named any of my fish with any Star Wars names whatsoever. How boring of me, but it's true. I have never done it. Let's see. Chad Krotz is here. Hello, Chad. He says to Fish Fan Forever, I name schools of fish sometimes. I had a shoal of peppered cories. I named Cool in the gang. Excellent. Excellent. Just point to one and say that's cool. I love it. That's brilliant. My daughter had a whole bunch of Endler's live bearers in her tank. And we just referred to them with the generic name of Johnny. We were just going to call him John. Everyone was going to be called John, but they became known as the Johnnies. And occasionally, and the females were known as Jones. So there were the Johnnies and the Jonies. So that was what it was. It sounded almost like it was a West Side Story in there because it sounds like a gang. Okay, Shelley Bradley says, I'm going to sign off, Andrew. I really enjoyed this as always. Thank you, Shelley, for dropping by. Lucas Studios says to Kimberly, if I ended up getting a black angelfish, I would definitely name him Vader, hence the shape of the body, of his body. Yes, the angelfish body is sort of like Vader's helmet on its side, so that's kind of cool here. Fish Fan Forever says, I will never marry someone unless we agree in advance that they won't interfere with my quest to acquire more fish. There's your prenup right there. Okay. I don't care if you take my fortune, just don't take my tanks. Colin Barsby says, a planted community aquarium plus African cichlids. What could go wrong? Yes. Okay. Nerd in the new sexy entertainment. Nerd is the new sexy entertainment. I like that. Interesting name there. Says, I'd have a whole cast of Star Wars characters in my fish tank. You know, I have actually heard of people doing that, where they will get fish, and they will theme them, they'll theme a tank around Star Wars or something else, and they'll name all the fish as characters from that film or TV show or comic book, and they'll get fish that sort of resemble that character, So that's kind of cool. That is kind of cool, yes. Welcome to the live stream there. All right, see you later, Colin. He's got to go eat lunch. So. Stone Studios here. Hi. How are you? Do I need to start over? Hi, everybody. I'm C. Andrew Nelson, founder of Aquatasy. No, I won't start over. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Chad says, I'd love an one of the Imperial Walkers on sand substrate. That would look sweet. That would look sweet if you were so inclined to that sort of thing. Yes. For those of you who are just joining, and I don't know, how you found out about this, if you're regular subscribers or watchers of the Aquatasy channel who have not been into this live stream before, and maybe you're wondering why we're talking Star Wars and that sort of thing, it's because I have served the Empire for many, many years. I actually worked for many years for Lucasfilm and the Lucas companies as a visual effects artist and animator and game designer and actor, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes working on Star Wars. I spent 12 years playing the character of Darth Vader for Lucasfilm and the Lucas companies, and also voiced the character of Luke Skywalker for several LucasArts games. So yes, I am my own father, or my own son. So that's why we're talking about it. So again, this is a Ask Me Anything, I dare you. We're going to go for another about 27 minutes here before I have to get back in my shuttle and head back to the Death Star. So go ahead and ask me anything you like about fish, about aquariums, about how I put my videos together, about my adventures on the dark side, whatever you want to do, or about visual effects, the films that I worked on, outside of Star Wars, anything you want. It's up to you. So, Lucas Studio is quoting Anakin Skywalker, who says, I hate sand. It's coarse, rough, and irritating. It gets everywhere. Poor Hayden. He can't go anywhere without somebody mentioning that to him. And Hayden is he's a great guy. He really is a great guy. I've known Hayden Christensen for a long time now, since he was first cast as Anakin. Wonderful guy. And a terrific actor. Fish Fan Forever says, my 20-gallon has 2 honey gourami. I plan to have some neon tetra. Hadn't decided on a bottom dweller yet. Either Cories, Coolie Loaches, or a Clown Pleco. What would you pick? What would you pick and how many? Well, first of all, love that. Good combination. Good combination. Hard to go wrong with neon tetras. Love neons. As far as a bottom dweller, I like Coolie Loaches a lot. They're a great fish. They're an easy fish to keep. They're easy to feed. They're easy to take care of. They live a long time. They can live, like 12 years or more. So they're wonderful, hardy fish, and they're fun. They're just interesting to watch. Make sure you've got a lot of hiding places for them, because that then encourages them to go out more, because they feel more safe when there's places to retreat to. Sorry, somebody was trying to walk into the studio here. So I would also say that Cories are great. I love Cories. Get a school of them if you can, because they're so much fun to watch in a school. We're just having a blast with my daughter. My daughter actually has Coolies and Cories in her tank right now. You'll see that in the video next week when I post that. But Clown Plecos are great. I love Clown Plecos, but here's the deal with them. You may never see them. They will hide. They hide a lot. If you get a Clown Pleco, make sure you have driftwood in there, because they chew on wood. That is part of their diet. They also any kind of pleco like that especially the Panac type of plecos, they will chew on wood, and that also they produce a lot of waste from that. So, but they will gnaw through that wood a bit. Here, just a moment. Put this to full screen for a second here. See this? This used to be this big. It used to be as tall as my hand here. A pleco did this. Now, it took a while. It took quite a few years, but a pleco did that. So, a Clown Pleco did that. So, that's what you have to look forward to. But they're fun. They're great fish. They're fun to have. But like I see mine, maybe once a week. That's about it. I'll see its tail or something like that. It hides easily. But again, if you make them feel comfortable, also if you put all the good food out in front, then it makes them want to come out a little more often. So let's see. Stone Studio says, I should have said hello there. But oof, that's all right. Hello there. That's fine. You're here. That's okay. Fish Fan Forever says, kind of was leaning away from coolies because they are yellow and my gourami are yellow and I wanted variety. Well, then here's what you can do. There is a species called black coolies, black coolie loach, and they're a lot of fun too, and they're actually more visible. They're out and about. I have one in this tank. You probably won't see him because it's kind of dark over in this end of the tank there. But I have a black coolie loach. Name is Lazarus because he pretty much died and came back to life, like the Lazarus of history. But they're wonderful fish. You can keep them singly. They don't get all squirrely like if you keep a regular coolie loach all by itself. Coolie loaches like to have, I always recommend getting at least 3 of them to have in a tank so they don't get all, spooked otherwise. But black coolie loaches are wonderful. And this black coolie loach, he comes out, they're called black coolie loaches. They're really kind of gray, like a dark gray. But they look the same otherwise. They're long, skinny, about the same length, same care, same diet, same length of life. They live a long time, and very hardy fish. And the cool thing about the black coolies that I see is they do this, what they call the coolie dance, up and down the side of the glass. They will swim constantly like this. If you go back to one of my old videos of the project preview for the Thailand tank, there's one where you can just see Lazarus going up and down. That's perfectly normal behavior. That means they're happy. It doesn't mean, because people have looked at that and they go, "Oh my gosh, he's going stir crazy." No, that's the way they roll, and so you'll see them out and about. And as soon as I put food in the tank, he's there, boom, right there to vacuum it up. So they're a lot of fun. So think about that. Look up the black coolie loach. Let's see, maybe I can find the scientific name for them and put it in the chat for you there. But they are a wonderful, wonderful species. I highly recommend them. Okay. Pangeo oblonga is the Gesundheit. That is the actual scientific name for them there. So I will put that in the chat. Here we go. Black coolie. There you are. So that's one I do recommend quite a bit. You can get several of them. They're great. Or if you just want one, you can have just one. Stephen Thompson says, "Sounds like my stingray. Does your stingray do that as well? Does it go up and down the glass?" That's cool. That's cool. Let's see. Lucas Studio says, "Do you think rams will get along with an angelfish?" Yeah, I think so. The trick is, will the angelfish get along with the rams? That's always the key. Angelfish are very much individual personalities. Some of them can be very, very peaceful and easygoing. The nice thing about rams and apistos is they especially apistos will do this. As far as dwarf cichlids are concerned, they spend more time in the bottom portion, the bottom part of the water column, whereas the angelfish will be more in the middle and up above. But I think if you get your, there's 2 ways of thinking. I mean, if the angelfish are in there first, in the tank first, then they can kind of establish themselves, but then maybe they get a little territorial. If the rams are introduced first and the angelfish afterwards, especially if the angelfish are introduced at a very young age, then they grow up around the other fish and then they don't bother them. But I don't think there'd be too much problems, especially with a tank as large as what you have. I wouldn't worry about it. There's plenty of room for the rams to disappear to. Again, with the rams though, like with everything else, and I'm sure you're doing this already because with your tank, because it's you've got fish that need very pristine, nice, clean water. You got to do good water changes, stay on top of that. But rams though would probably do pretty well with discus, so that's cool. Let's see. Fish Fan Forever says, "Would 6 Coreys, 10 neon tetras, and 2 honey gourami be overstocked in a 20-gallon tank?" No, that would be perfect. That'd be fine. Because the neons don't put out. There's a lot of them. There's 10 of them, but they don't put out a lot of waste. because they're tiny. You know, they don't put out a lot of waste. You only and just the 2 honey gourami and 6 cories. No, you'd be fine. That would be great. Actually, that'd be ideal. So there you go. I think you've got your stocking set up right there. Susan says, I'll talk to you later. I need to get something to eat. Thank you for coming by, Susan. It was great to have you here. Okay. Lucas Studio says, I just recently got a 55. Ah, the one you've been talking about. Okay, great. Yep, I'm on top of things in regards of maintenance. Great. Fantastic. Yes. Nerd is the New Sexy Entertainment is saying, all right, I need to head out. I just wanted to stop in and say hello. Have a wonderful live stream. Stay nerdy. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yep. We're going to go for about another 17 minutes, and then I myself have to head out. Got things to do. People to see. Tanks to do water changes on. Videos to finish editing for you. So I really did want to finish a video for you guys today, and I didn't get to it, but I thought to myself, I can't let it slip another week and not do something for you. So that's why I'm doing the live stream. But, so what do we want to talk about for those last 17 minutes here? By the way, I don't know how many of you actually look at the community tab on the Aquatasy channel, because you should, because I post stuff there. And one of the things that I mentioned recently was that it's an image that I posted there. I have another episode of Fish in the Darndest Places coming up. Where do you think I found this tank? Yeah, I found this tank in somewhere that I was not expecting to see. Certainly not fish like that. And if anybody who can figure out what those fish are, tell me. They ain't guppies. So that is a video that's coming up as soon as I finish editing it. So yeah, so things like that. I'll let you know things in the community tab. So check that out. Pardon me whilst I refresh. I've been talking and talking and talking, and my throat gets a little raw here. This is what happens to me when I do conventions. When I'm very fortunate and very blessed to be asked to do convention appearances around the country, around the world. You know, I'm an ordinary guy who gets to do extraordinary things, and I don't take it for granted. So I like to give back, and I love to go to conventions and meet with fans of the projects that I was blessed enough to work on. And but I end up talking. I do a lot of talking to everybody, and I love to do it. That's fine. But at the end of the day, so here I have been talking for almost 2 hours straight. So it's I have to refresh once in a while. So back to the chat. All right. Stephen Thompson says, yes, my stingray loves to cruise up and down the glass, and as soon as food hits, she's all over it. That's great. What do you feed your stingray? I love stingrays. I'm fascinated by them. I have been for years and years, since I first saw them at the Steinhardt Aquarium at the California Academy of Sciences in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park back when I was a kid. I just find them fascinating. Amy Atkins says, Python water changer. Think it's worth the money? It can be. It can very well be. Something like the Python can be really, really useful. It helps. It's certainly a lot less back breaking than carrying buckets of water doing the bucket brigade. I've been doing the bucket brigade for ages. I still do it. And the sad thing is that some of my tanks are nowhere near the water source. They are at absolute opposite ends of the house, and the water source is somewhere near the middle. So, like the 20-gallon tank that you see in there, and my daughter's tank, they're at one end of the house. The faucets are in the kitchen, and which is closer to the opposite end of the house, and then beyond that is our garage, aka the Fabulous Aquatasy Studios, aka my home office, aka the fish room. And so it's just kind of hard to run the Python all the way out here like that. The thing with the Python is that you want to make sure that that you get your water conditioner into the tank as soon as you've done the water change. As soon as you got the water filled back up again, you want to get that dechlorinator in there. And I mean, I recommend, I use Seachem Prime. There are other good ones too. Corton's Amquil Plus is a great one as well. I like them. I like Prime because you don't have to use a lot, and you can just use a little bit of it, and so you make those dollars stretch by, because it just a little bit goes a long way, and it takes care of neutralize. Not doesn't just get rid of the chlorine and the chloramines in the water. It will neutralize the ammonia and the nitrites in the water too. So if you're going to use something like the Python, you want to make sure that you test your water supply. You should always be testing your water supply anyway. Whatever comes out of your tap water, whether you're on well water or you're on municipality, your public utilities service. You want to test your water because you want to know what the pH of it is. You want to know what the hardness of it is, if it's soft or hard. But the thing also, you want to test it every so often for nitrites and for ammonia, because sometimes that will happen, and this is what happened to me. I had I lost some fish because I wasn't testing our municipality's water, our tap water, and they had been putting ammonia into the water supply to try to deal with algae and fungus and things like that as a measure for that, to kind of keep it clean, supposedly. Well, that's fine, but that is killing my fish if I don't. And I actually was doing a water change one time. I forgot to put my Prime into the bucket of water that I was using and I was using a siphon to put it back into the tank, and the fish are starting to, they're laying on their sides, and it's a mess. I did a whole video about that. Yeah. So if you're going to use the Python, make sure that there's nothing like that. There's no ammonia, there's no nitrites in your water, in your tap water, and then just get that chlorinator in there, that dechlorinator in there right away once you've done filling it back up. But it can be handy. They can be very handy. B Mouty says, bucket brigade for life. Yes, absolutely. I am definitely with you on that. It just works for me. I don't know. I'm old school in that sense. If it was good enough for my grandfather, it's good enough for me. So, Lucas Studio says, I would get a Python. However, my mother is always panicking about me making a mess in the house. I tell her, Mom, you gotta get your hands wet. Yeah. Let's see. Fish Fan Forever says, I like API Stress Coat. Stress Coat is good. It's good. There is an issue with Stress Coat, though, that can happen. And I've actually had to deal with this a lot in the comments on one of my videos. I did a video a while back called The Fungus Among Us, which was talking about how when you put new driftwood into a tank and it's still settling in, even sometimes after you've soaked it or something like that, you can develop a fungus that grows on it. A white stringy fungus. It's perfectly harmless. It won't harm your fish, it won't harm anything else in your tank there. It's just unsightly, and then it turns brown as it starts to die away. But the what was I saying? The issue with that is there are some other things that look like that fungus. One of them is a form of white algae that grows in tanks. And one of the things that the white algae feeds on is there's algae in every tank. You think, oh, I've got a perfectly spotless clean tank. Yeah, well, there's still algae. There's algae in your tap water. There's algae everywhere. Algae just happens. It's just, is it kept in check or not? And what can happen is sometimes API Stress Coat can feed that algae, that type of white algae, and it starts to grow, and you get this bloom of this algae. And people are going, oh my gosh, what is it? What's in my tank? And they don't know, and they're doing more water changes, so they're putting more API Stress Coat in there, and it doesn't go away. And they keep figuring out, well, why is it happening? So that's the one caveat with the API Stress Coat, is if you get that type of algae in your tank, it could trigger a bloom of it. But otherwise, it's a great product. It's a great product, too. So. Okay, Amy Atkins says, oh yes, my tap reads 0.25 ammonia with API test kit. Okay, all right. Well, that's fairly low. That's fairly low. I was going to grab my test kit here, but I don't know where I put it. So I'm just going to grab. Excuse me. Pardon me. Pardon me. It's live. I didn't rehearse this. Okay, so it's my API test kit. Let me get my little chart here. So ammonia. If I can, what she's talking about here is. Sorry, I can't get it to focus on that. It won't focus. Anyway, it's the second one down. 0.25. That's pretty standard. For tap water, that's pretty standard. So I wouldn't worry about it using a Python to do a water change if that's what you wanted to do. Wouldn't worry about it. Now, if it was higher, if you were getting like 0.5 or 1.0 parts per million, yeah, that's an issue. So you definitely, I would call up your water company and say, hey, what's the deal here? I actually had my water company come out. I called them out here to test it here at the house and hopefully do something about it. But yeah, so I always add stuff. That's why I do the bucket brigade. So I because the ammonia and the nitrite levels get a little high here sometimes, and so I will put it in the bucket. I'll add the prime, or before that I was using Amqual Plus, and it neutralizes that so that by the time it gets into the tank, the nitrifying bacteria that's already in there, your bacteria colony or good bacteria, can devour it and eat it and get rid of it. So, and before it gets harmful. So, but at 0.25, wait a minute. Yeah, I know. I looked at it first. Lucas Studios is saying, I saw 2.5. It's like, yeah, I read it wrong too. Transpose that. No, it's 0.25. That's not bad. Yeah. So, Muppet929 says, have you ever used those leave in the tank for I think a month that are supposed to alert you of ammonia and one for pH? I think API makes them. No, I have never used them. I will tell you why. This is just my own opinion. I think it inspires laziness. If you put that in there, you're not actively testing. When you put that in there, you're not actively testing. And you put it in, you look at it and go, oh, okay, everything's all right. Oh, okay, everything's all right. And then you get to a point where it's like, I'm not going to look. By forcing yourself to do your weekly water changes and test your water once a week, that's, I think, better. So I try not to I mean, I don't want to do this hobby totally on automation. So also, I don't like stuff in my tank that I don't want to have to look at. You know, this is why when I scape a tank, I try to hide things. I will hide the heater behind a rock. I will hide the filter, like in this tank. Well, you can't see it now because I got so many plants in here. A lot of these plants are going into other tanks. They just happen to be floating in here because I didn't have the other tanks ready. So that's why it's just wall-to-wall plants in here at the moment. But there's not that many fish in here. But there's a with this tank, the 16-gallon Aquarium widescreen aquarium. The filter, the hang-on back filter, is right dead center of the tank, and so that intake tube is right in the dead center, and I hated that because it's right in the middle of my scape, and I have to look at it. So I cleverly placed a piece of spiderwood right in front of it, so I don't have to see it. So I don't like stuff in my tank that I don't want to have to look at. So that's my 2 cents there. B. Mowdy says, I have always had ammonia in my tap in all the cities I've lived in. Where I am currently, it's 0.5. Yeah, that's a little high. Yeah, that's kind of what I get. I get 0.5. It has gotten up to 1.0 parts per million. Plus, the same thing with the nitrites at the same time. Fun, yeah. Bubba929 says, I'm drinking algae in my water. Yeah, that means I can tell my doc I'm getting my greens. There you go, see? You always look on the bright side of things. So that's how it works. Yes. Yeah, stress coat also neutralizes ammonia. That's nice. That's because a lot of them don't. Some of them don't do that. So you got to look carefully. Some of the dechlorinators are strictly dechlorinators. That's all they do. They don't do anything else. So you want something that's going to not only remove the chlorine and the chloramines, you want something that's going to neutralize ammonia and nitrites as well, so that the good bacteria can deal with it before it becomes a problem. Oh, thank you very much. Chad has given a super chat for $4.99. Thank you so much. That is going to go right back into this channel to help make videos here. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was awfully kind of you. Enjoyed the stream. It's been fun. Thank you. I've enjoyed having you here. I hope you'll come back, check out all the other videos, and like I said, there will be more videos. They are just being edited, so by me. I'm a one-man army here. I don't farm this out to anybody else. It's just me doing the videos. So, although occasionally my son will be my stand-in because he's the same height as I am, so I can have him sit down in this chair or wherever I have to be and have him stand there, and I can focus the camera and the lights and everything on him. And my daughter helps me with the camera sometimes too. So, very good. So, all right. Thank you again. Thank you so much. Back to the comments in our last few minutes here. Lucas Studio says, I hate the fact that I used to be lazy in this hobby. Yeah, I have been guilty of being lazy too. I mean, there are times when I'm just legitimately busy, but there are other times when I'm just legitimately lazy, and I have to own it. And that's what happens. Lucas Studios also says, Stephen Thompson says, that's why I like my sumps. I hide everything down below the tank. That's the cool thing about having a sump, is that anything you don't want to look at, you can, but needs to be in the water, you can put it right down in there, and it works. It's beautiful. And Lucas Studio says, dang, I wish I could put my heater in my tank. Too bad my Valcin area is in the back. Okay, typo. Oh yes. Well, you know, there's always a way to hide something. You can hide things from view, one way or another. Fish Fan Forever wants to know favorite species of Cory cat. I like the 3-line Cory. I really do. The green lasers are pretty darn cool though too. I'm not going to lie there. I mean, I love Corys. I love pretty much all of them. But I do like the 3-line Cory. There's just something about it. And of course, mine's a bit of a conspiracy theorist, so he's a little spooky. But just visually speaking, I love the 3-line Corys. So, I also like the network Cory. I haven't seen them for sale anywhere, but I remember seeing them in a lot of books. So, okay. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for today because I've got to go. Got to take care of some other things here. Wait, one more last question here. How much fish tank responsibilities do your kids take on? They feed their own fish. They help my kids are adults. So my daughter is 23 or 24. She's turned 24. My son is 19, and they have their tanks in their rooms there. So they feed their own fish. They clean the algae off the glass, and they help me with the water changes and that sort of thing. So they help out, but I don't leave it entirely all to them. But anyway, Lucas Studio says, that's not what I meant to say. Whoops. I meant to say I wish I could move my heater to the back of my tank. I do have a heater, I mean. I do have angelfish, yes. I kind of figured that's what you meant. But, well, maybe there's a way to move it mid-ground. One thing that you could do is, maybe you could, put a rock somewhere in the mid-ground and hide it behind that. Where there's a will, there's a way. You can figure out a way to do it. But anyway, I want to thank you all so much for being here today, for joining in on this. It was kind of a spur of the moment, as we do sometimes with these. So I really do appreciate it. Please remember to, like this video and check out the other videos on the channel. And of course, you can also find us on social media. There's Aquatasy on Instagram. Oh, I'm doing it right now. Aquatasy on Facebook. There's Aquatasy on Twitter, which once in a while I post something there. You can find the Patreon thing where I'm about to upload a ton of stuff on Patreon. And of course, you can go to the very outdated Aquatasy.com website. I'm going to be redoing. I'm doing new hosting, same company, but just a whole new hosting plan, and I'm going to be able to redo things very nicely there. And of course, if you want to email me, you can always go to info@aquatasy.com and do it there. So, again, thank you so much for coming out here. Thank you for joining me on this. This has been a blast. It really has. And, you know, I hope you have a wonderful, everybody here in the United States, I hope you have a wonderful Independence Day weekend, a wonderful 4th of July. And, you know, for everybody elsewhere, have a nice weekend. To all my friends in the UK, I'm sorry. It wasn't my fault that we broke up, but we, well, you know, we're allies now, right? And until next time, as I try not to hit my microphone, here we go. Blessings to you.